No racial, but being the only black person in a room full of potentially racist people sucks. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, good. In today's video, I'm pretty much sharing an experience that I had when I went to a school in a redneck town. I'm not in high school anymore, but when I was, I mainly stayed out of the mix and to myself. I never considered myself as anything other than myself, and I tried my best to focus on the main task. I went to a school that had a smaller population of minorities, and the town I lived in was all about that historic nonsense that no one really cared about. This made a huge stereotypical gap in between races because our backgrounds were all different. You know, there was the country white boys who wore trucker hats, pastel colored shorts, and those shirts with the fishes on them. They all stuck together and they all drove these loud trucks. Then of course there were the preppy country white girls who wore the simply southern shirts, black leggings, the boots, and tons of makeup every single day. And their hair was typically in a messy bun. And then of course you had the uppity daddy's money flexers, as what I like to call them. I never could relate to them. Not racist, but if I even had the opportunity to speak to one of them, they'd look at me funny because of my black scent. This reminds me of a math teacher I had, whom I could never understand. I wondered why until this white girl told me that
it was because I didn't talk like them.
So I was like, hold up, what do you mean? And then this black guy yells out,
"It means that you speak nigganese."
I always struggled with that because by us coming up from different cultures, we reword things a little different. I never really found my crowd. The black people in that school either always talked about the upcoming games, each other, and different brands of clothing, as if that is what really made you. And of course, what's a school without the ghetto children? Ugh, they were so aggy, loud for no reason, headphone bopping, smash this, smash that. Nothing else better to do, you know, but vape and become crackheads. And lastly, there were the ones that were in between all stereotypes, or as they like to call them, the lame weirdos. Not as in creative weird like me, but straight cornball raw XD type weird. I would go on, but that would include too many characters in this story. I always viewed myself as the creative, ambitious type, and I always was a geek for editing and photography, so I took a yearbook class. My first day I walked into the smell of heavy Febreze in a cleaner environment, which was oddly confusing because I have never been in this part of the school. All of my other classes smelled like sweaty booty and cheese. I walked in and introduced myself to the teacher, and I took a seat feeling all sophisticated and inspired. Next thing you know, all the desks are full, and hey, what do you know, I'm the only black kid in the class. At first I kind of shrugged it off, but later on in the semester, I felt like a total outcast. I couldn't relate to the music, the style. Heck, the teacher even asked me if Veronica was my real name. And every time she talked to me, her eye would twitch. At the end of every sentence, she would be like,
"Do you understand? Do you understand?"
Which made me feel like she was saying that because I was black. There was a group of white boys who would just leave to get food for her, and as long as they came back before the bell rang, they were Gucci. Anyways, one of them came up to me trying to talk black under the impression that it was the way I spoke.
What up, dog?
Like, who even says that anymore? And then they'd recite rap lyrics and be like,
I bet you know that song, don't you?
the songs would be so old. And not even the good ones. They would just be like the one-hit wonders that you forget about. I would sit there quietly listening to their conversation. I remember one time they were looking in the old yearbooks and said,
Wow, there are no black people in here. What year did slavery end in again?
hold up. Last I checked, I was never a cotton slave, so none of it applies to me. It is all in the past. But to bring up some like that, like you're a plunger, is just offensive. I also remember being called girl a lot. Get over here, boy. And girl feels like the same principle when I'm in a room full of underdeveloped minds. Once the same teacher was reading a story, but this time I had her as an English 3 teacher. She described one of the characters as having negroid skin. You know, melanin is the proper word for it, Miss Jones. I was always cool with everyone that I had small talk with, but being in a school where I was put back to fail because of the color of my skin was never it. The town was set up to be segregated, kind of like the GTA 5 map, in where you have the ghetto black side and then the rich white side. The only difference is that the town is much smaller. In this case, the rich white people acted like the Illuminati, literally. There was a satanic cult right down the street on some point A to point B type close. The vibe always felt dark, and I guarantee that if I had a camera that could detect the spiritual world, I would have caught so many dark entities. I'm thinking, maybe the school was sitting on a battlefield or an old plantation at some point, you know? I never wanted a place to burn down so badly, I swear. Anyways, I wrote the class out and passed with a B, which it wasn't hard, but I know I deserved an A. I guess I passed from not proving to be a hood rat, or at least that's what it seemed like. There was no way I was going to make myself another statistic. And even if I was considered to be soft to the black kids already going there, I knew my place as an enlightened person. So yeah, I know what it's like to be racially profiled, which makes no sense because we could all cut ourselves and drip the same color. Some things are just made to learn from. And because of that, it's made me want to outdo this rigged up system that we all live by. Yeah, guys, I just decided to share this story because things happen differently in everyone's lives. There may be some of you who can relate also. So if you had a similar experience, let me know how it went. I love to hear your stories, but that's all for today. Until next time, peace, love, gratitude, Veeoflife, signing out.
Veeoflife, hit subscribe, drop a like.